You first have to know what it is you truly want. What is your vision? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to build? When you know it and you see it, you will work to create it. What do I do each day to zoom focus, to create the vision and the picture I have in my mind? See, if you just have the big picture, but not the zoom focus, you're dreaming all the time, but you're not taking action. You have to identify what winning today means to you. Like for me, it means getting better every day, staying positive, and encouraging others. Do you really want it more? And what actions are you taking to show that you want it more? There has to be a desire there. In this area, I truly believe that you have to have a vision of what you want to achieve, but you have to have a greater commitment. Commitments are greater than goals. Now more than ever, you got to talk about what you're committed to. You got to want it more, and you got to take the actions necessary to create the goals you have. How can I learn? How can I improve? How can I get better? It's always about doing the ordinary things with extraordinary. The minute you think you've arrived at the door of greatness, it will get slammed in your face. Distractions are the enemy of greatness. That's a really key point. They're the enemy of greatness.
Jon, welcome back to Personal and Professional Best. Yeah, let's go to work. Now that we've done the halftime adjustment thing, okay, we'll kick off for the second half and hopefully deliver some value through the book that you wrote, Training Camp, What the Best Do Better Than Everybody Else, so that all of our folks, the Supreme Lenders and all of our partners in the real estate community and all of those that are watching the program can make the decision to become the best versions of themselves in their own life. So let's go to trait number 6, all right? Since you read the book, you probably know what that is, but just to remind you, the best are mentally stronger.
You win in the mind first, then you win in the field. You win in the mind, and then you win in the marketplace. How do you win in the mind? You got to feed the positive and weed the negative. So this is about positivity, optimism, belief, resilience, and grit, and mental toughness. It's about not seeing the world through rose-colored glasses, but knowing that you have the power to overcome the thorns. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about maintaining optimism, belief, and faith in order to create a better reality. It's knowing that you're going to face challenges, adversity, and setbacks. And you're going to have negative thoughts that come your way. But those negative thoughts are lies that will tell you things about yourself and your future that just aren't true. I always say, don't believe the lies. Speak truth to the lies. And the best advice I ever heard is from Dr. James Gills, the only person on the planet to complete 6 double Ironman triathlons.
Oh, my God.
You do an Ironman, and then a day later do another one. And the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. He was asked how he did it. He said this: I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. If I listen, I roll the fear, the negativity, the doubt, all the reasons why I can't finish this race. But if I talk to myself, I can feed myself with the words and the encouragement that I need to keep on moving forward. And that's what we need to do. When you are in competition, when you are grinding every day, there are going to be days you get down, but you've got to encourage yourself every day. The word encourage means to put courage into. And so when you encourage yourself, you put encourage into yourself. When you encourage others, you put encourage into them. And so talk to yourself, encourage yourself, speak life, speak words that help you get stronger, more powerful, not weaker. You don't want to get weaker, you want to get stronger. So it really is a mental battle. So in that book, I have 20 ways to be mentally tough. And I want people to read those 20 ways. Read them on a daily basis until you know them. And what happens is you'll start walking in that truth. You'll start living that truth, and you'll see how that truth, that positive mindset, becomes the life you live and the life you create.
You know, we all want certain things to happen for us in life, and we don't want certain things to happen to us in life. But what I've always believed is that adversity, it comes in 2 ways. We make poor choices, and then we face consequences, right? We create our own adversity. Don't do that. That's like waking up in the morning, punching yourself in the face. Not a good idea.
Right.
Then there's the adversity that I really believe that God planned for our life, which is really kind of the birthplace of how to get better. We try to give it back. We complain about it. But the truth is, adversity, when it shows up, that season of our life, and if we pour into it, we accept that part of our season. If we do, we'll come out of that season with something that will ultimately make us mentally stronger for the next season. Because no doubt adversity, it goes away. It's coming back again at some point, right?
I love that. It's not meant to define you. It's meant to refine you.
I love it.
It's meant to make you sharper, help you grow stronger and wiser and better. And if you think about every challenge you faced, it was an opportunity to learn, to grow, and improve. I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It's not in the old book of Training Camp. It's in my new book coming out, The One Truth. But we all need a worthy opponent. God gives us a worthy opponent to have to face.
So we compete at a higher level.
Yes,
right?
You got to test.
Yes.
And you got to face the test in order to get stronger. So he will give us circumstances and rivals and people who don't believe in us along the way. Because if you wilt from that moment, guess what? You're not going to be the best. But if you can actually face it and be refined by it and go through the fire and come out on the other side, you'll be stronger, you'll be better, and you will be more powerful to take on new challenges that come your way.
So the best are mentally stronger, and all of us, that's something you can acquire. It's not beyond, It's not like a gift that was given. It's a mindset. You know, one of the things that I make sure I don't do is I don't watch a lot of negative things.
Right.
I don't listen to a lot of negative things. I'm rarely, if ever, involved in social media. I make sure that what goes in my eyes and what I'm reading is all positive and it's all making me better.
Yeah. Well, your life is like a radio dial. What are you going to tune into?
Yep.
Guess what? All messages are being broadcast right now, even right here over us. What we tune into will become what we ultimately perceive and receive. And you got to make sure that you're receiving the positive messages, the messages of belief, the message of strength, the message of hope, the message of faith that allow you to have strength as you move forward.
So let's go to trait number 7, okay? The best overcome their fear.
Ooh. How do we overcome our fear? The ultimate way is love. Love casts out fear. And so fear wants to divide you. Fear wants to defeat you. Fear wants to bring you down. But the way we win the battle ultimately is love. I think about Michael Jordan, right? The greatest of all time. Many say LeBron, maybe, but say Michael, for instance. Michael was so focused on loving the competition, loving the battle, loving to beat you. He wasn't worried about failing in those moments. He wasn't worried about not succeeding. Everyone says, oh, he was great because he hated to lose. No, he loved to win. And he loved to beat you. If you're fearing the outcome, if you're fearing making a mistake, if you're fearing not being your best or not living up to the expectations that people have for you or that you have for yourself, if that fear drives you, you're not going to be your best. It never will. What we try to build with fear will crumble. But if we build it with love, that's what endures and that is what sustains. And so when you bring love to it, loving the moment, loving the process, that's when you are at your best. So love helps us overcome the fear that so often brings us down.
You know, fear is not from God.
No.
We both know that. I mean, the scripture tells us that, 365 times, do not be afraid, right? Do not fear. And yet it's natural to be afraid. And it's mostly because we don't think, we're going to be good enough. We're not going to get what we want, succeed the way we want to succeed. But if you do all the work, if you prepare, right, to get what you really want, you do every single thing, the ordinary things exceptionally well every single day, you don't have anything to be afraid of because you're going to wind up competing at the highest level and the outcomes will be the outcomes.
I was talking to a field goal kicker in the NFL. He missed a couple kicks. It was on ESPN. He might get cut. And so I reached out to him. I said, how you doing? He said, oh, I'm just thinking too much. I'm just so full of fear. I said, how'd you do your rookie year? He said, I was doing great.
Killed it.
I killed it. I was loving it. I was living my dream. I was in the NFL. This year, it was the second year in the league. I missed a couple kicks in preseason. I started thinking a lot. I started fearing missing a shot. Now I don't want to lose what I have. I don't want to let the team down. I don't want to let coach down. So now he was so full of fear. I reminded him, love casts out fear. Get back to loving it instead of fearing it. You know what? He did. He said, that's how I got here in the first place. Exactly. Just kick the ball and love that you get to kick it. Had a great season, great career after that. I now share that with business people, sales professionals, leaders, companies, because it's the same thing. Don't fear the outcome. Love what you do. Love serving your customers. Love growing the business. Love building a great team. And that love will drive you to success.
I think you just said it. Fear is about the outcome and our concern about maybe it not being what we want it to be, right? And when you lose that and you replace it with just invest in doing every single possible thing that you can to control what you can control, to be the best, then the fear goes away because you're loving what you're doing.
Fear is outside in. Love is actually from the essence of who you are, inside out. And the power is on the inside.
I love it. All right. Number 8, let's go. Okay, we're getting into like late third quarter right now. Okay, and the folks that are out there are like, yes, exactly. We got a chance to win. It's coming up. Trait number 8: the best seize the moment.
Yes, How do you seize the moment? By loving it instead of fearing it, which we just talked about. That is how you seize the moment. You're not worried about your fear or failure. You're not worried about what people think. I tell athletes all the time, if you're playing in the game and you're in that moment and you're worried about what coach is thinking, that is not good to be like that in that moment. Your coach doesn't want you to thinking about him. He wants you to think about your moment.
What you're doing.
And what you're doing and what you're creating and the success you're having. Like ultimately what you're building in that moment. Don't be thinking about coach. Don't be thinking about the outcome. Don't even think about what's it going to look like when I make this shot or make this play. What's my year going to look like? Start celebrating too soon. No, it's not about the outcome. It's about the moment. The way we seize the moment is by focusing on the moment, being in the present moment. I am one with that moment. We've all been in the zone before. When you're in that zone, it's like time stands still. You feel like you're one with everybody and everything. And in that moment, you have so much clarity because you have connection. And then you have this incredible confidence. And then you have courage because you're one with the moment. So to seize the moment, be one with the moment and stop worrying about everything else.
You know, everything you've said in the first 7 traits, it leads up to this because the moment, you know, we as sports fans, 2 minutes left and it's always, if there's stress in the game and then the best show up. Right? The best wind up showing up. The best quarterbacks, the best basketball players, they show up in that moment and they seem to be better in that moment than others are. They've done all the preparation. They've done all the little things, the ordinary things. They've focused in their life. They've done all of it. And so when the moment comes, they don't have any fear. They're like, I've been waiting for this.
They don't allow fear or failure to define them. Also, their identity is not tied to the performance. That's key. If your identity is tied to the outcome, if the outcome isn't good, guess what? Your identity is not good. So if you have a horrible outcome, you're a horrible person. Those who are able to seize that moment ultimately know that their performance does not define them. So they're going to show up and guess what? I got nothing to lose. I am going for it. I am not going to live in fear. I'm going to go after this. You know, I got to say, when COVID hit, I made the decision that I was going to love people, love making a difference, and love in the moment. And I was not going to allow fear to affect me. Everyone was filled with fear during that time.
Oh yeah.
No way. I said, I'm going to love people
when
and
you're
love
a
the moment.
public speaker, and you're out in the marketplace, public speaking, and all of a sudden they shut down the ability to be in the public. You can get a little afraid about that.
I could have been, right? But I told my wife, I refuse to participate in the pandemic, just as I refused to participate in the recession. Remember 2007, 2008? During that time, I said, no, I'm not participating in this recession. I'm going to go out every day, seize the moment, live with faith, a lot of love, and guess what? Had an incredible year. So I said that about the pandemic. Maybe it's why I got COVID 3 times, but I said in that moment, I'm not going to allow fear to keep me from being my best. I'm going to go out there, help others be their best. You know what happened? So many great relationships, so many great moments, so many great opportunities to make a difference. And I had some of the most special moments of my life during that time. It wasn't that I wasn't worried about safety and so forth for others. I knew that, you know, it was a tough time. But I knew that to help others get better, I had to live with love and seize the moments I was in.
Well, this is going to work perfectly into our next trait, right? You have a new book that's coming out, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, as we talk about this. But trait number 9, the best, which is what we all want to become, they tap into a power that's greater than themselves. Talk about that.
Well, let's look at addiction programs. They all believe in a higher power. Why? Because you're not strong enough
to do it
on your own. You need a greater power. You need a greater strength. Even my wife and I, we wrote a book called Relationship Grit. We say you need to invite God into your relationship because 2 people together by themselves without God, you're not strong enough on your own. You need that greater power between you to help weave it together, to give you strength, to give you courage, to give you wisdom, and to give you the love to serve and sacrifice for each other that you need. Same thing in your own life. There'll be moments where you realize, I can't do this on my own. I need a greater power. I need a greater strength. For me, I look back at my life and I know that without my faith, I would not be who I am today. And I'm not here to convince other people of my faith. I just know that we need to believe in something greater and bigger than ourselves. I call that greater power Jesus. And I know that Jesus healed me, restored me, redeemed me, took my pain, took my burden, took all the depression I had, all the fear, all the anxiety. I was a mess. I was someone that was not their best. And my wife threatened to leave me, said, if you don't change, we're over. And I needed to change. And that began this journey of working to become a more positive person. And that led to being a faithful person. Because as I was trying to be more positive, I realized that I was only positive as I could be, but I needed more positivity. I needed to tap into a greater power and true positivity.
Yep.
And as I did, that renewed my mind, it renewed my heart, my soul, it re-energized me, and it ultimately made me who I am today. I would not have written all these books if it wasn't for that greater power. And I know if you talk to every great athlete, every great performer, whatever their religion, they all had this transcendental moment where they felt a greater power move through them. And if you ever felt that experience, you know what I'm talking about.
I did, because I told you earlier, and in the past as we've talked, when I was 23 getting out of college, I was breathing out of a paper bag because I was depending upon Pat and self, and I wasn't tapped into that greater power. And I finally got completely exhausted, surrendered my life, and started reading that book, which is the best-selling book in history and my favorite book, every single day.
Yeah.
And that has guided my journey as it has yours. And I always tell people that that my faith requires me to love you no matter what you do back in return, and nothing's expected from you.
Yeah.
And that kind of simplifies the bridge that we can cross together, which is you don't have to be against me because I'm a man of faith, and I don't have to be against you because you're not. I'm going to love you no matter what. But to your point, the best, they have this thing where they go and they're tapping into this power that's just makes them bigger than they would be without it.
It comes down to what I'm talking about in my new book in June that comes out called The One Truth. You're either connected and experience oneness, which is power, or separateness, which is weakness and fear and division. When are you stronger? When you feel one. How do you become one? You connect to that greater power that exists instead of feeling separate and disconnected from that power. Ego stands for edging God out. So what happens is it looks like you're powerful, but it's actually false power.
Yep.
Because it's limited to self and your own power, not the greater power. So it actually runs out and it disconnects you from other people as well. So we know the weakness of having an ego, but we know humility connects you to the greater power. Now, we're not talking about confidence. You can actually be confident and humble at the same time. Right? Confident knowing that there's a plan for my life and who I am and my gifts and abilities, but humble knowing that I need a greater power to be my best and to bring out the best in others.
Actually, whenever we see the best and they interview them in the moment, they've just been the best again. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, of course, over there, they're always humble, giving credit to everybody else, but it doesn't make them less.
No,
it doesn't. Actually, it increases our draw to them and our wanting to be like them, more like them. Jon, let's go to trait 10. Okay, the best, leave a legacy.
Let's go. When I think of legacy, I think about my coach who recruited me to play lacrosse at Cornell University. His name is Richie Moran, and the Hall of Fame is named after him.
Wow.
So I think that defines best when the Hall of Fame is named after you. And he impacted my life in such amazing ways. And I reached out to him a week before he passed away. And he said, Jon, remember, teammates are forever. I said, so are coaches who change the course of your life. You see,
another person's life.
He left a legacy in me.
Yep.
Legacy is not really buildings. Eventually, buildings are going to crumble. Legacy is what you leave in other people. And what is a legacy? It's lives touched and stories told about you. I always say, give people great stories to tell about you. Touch their lives in a positive way. Impact them. You know why? Because every moment is actually an eternal moment to make an eternal impact. We're living an eternal reality. Your soul is eternal. My soul is eternal. We're experiencing this temporary reality right now. So you have this eternal soul that's experiencing this reality. And in that moment, it's an opportunity for this expression in this reality right here, right now, but from the essence of who you are to make a difference. See, essence is what's eternal. Appearance is temporary. So we see appearance, that's temporary. Essence is what lasts. So guess what? The love you put into it, the care you put into it, the impact you want to have, the heart, the soul, the drive, the excellence you pursue on a daily basis. That's what people remember about you. They remember the essence, not the things.
Yeah, I think about we're all talented in our unique ways and we own experiences. And I always think that, you're talented as a communicator. You write amazing stories and you write about things that can leave the lives of people better. And if someone said, what's Jon Gordon's legacy? I would say he communicated to an audience ideas about things that if they adopted, they could get better in life. They could be better parents, better husbands, better sons, daughters. They could be better neighbors. They could be better in their profession. And I pretty much have the same. My personal mission is to leave people better than I found them. And, you know, humbly, I'm not always successful in doing it, but I wake up every day, start the day, finish the day. That's what I'm focusing on doing. And if I had a legacy someday, it would be that I helped other people discover that they could actually get better in life, and they did as a result of crossing paths with me.
Wow. So, and what you said, I think, is so key. It's saying it, but it's also doing it. So when we're together, am I making you better by us spending time together? And guess what? What's my greatest legacy? It's got to be my kids. Oh, yeah. If I don't impact my kids, if I don't impact my wife and the people who be crying at my funeral, then to me, anything else really doesn't matter. So it starts with them first. Leave a legacy in them. And you have an amazing family. You're pouring into your kids. I met them. You're leaving a legacy in them. I got to leave a legacy in my kids. Everyone watching, leave a legacy in your family. Make that your most important legacy. Then from there, ripple out to the world and start leaving a legacy there by what you say, by what you do. And then when you interact, are people better
as a result of it?
As a result of being with you.
Amazing. All right. Trait number 11. Love it. Okay. The best. They make everyone around them better.
Yeah, I love this one because we're all striving to be our best, but as we strive to be our best, we actually become someone who makes others better in the process. And the best, they set the standard. They raise the bar. And so as they pursue excellence themselves, they show others what excellence looks like. Damian Lillard, Michael Jordan, other people who have been the best. Tom Brady in football, Marshall Faulk. You see these great athletes throughout our time. They show others what greatness looks like. So they make people better through their own example. But while they're with people, they're also making them better. How? By investing in a relationship with them, by mentoring them, coaching them, guiding them. The best coaches make people better. Ask Dabo Sweeney. He will tell you he doesn't care about championships at the end of the day. His legacy, his greatness is defined by the players he impacts, the lives that they create, who they become. That's his legacy. That's his impact. That's making people better. And you always do it through relationship. How can I lead you if I don't
have a relationship?
If I don't know you? How can I motivate you if I don't know what motivates you? I've got to know you. I've got to invest in you in order to help you be your best and pull that greatness out of you to be your best.
You know what? When we're really doing this, making everybody around us better, first, relationship, you're loving them. They know you love them.
Yep.
And if you really love them, you'll both affirm what's true about them, that is their gift that they have, that they can give away to the world. But you're also, and this is the hardest thing, and most people avoid doing this, you also are called to love them enough to tell them the truth about things that they need to know about themselves, that they can indeed do better so that they can be their best. Yeah. Because that's what we do. We lift everyone up. When Tom Brady went to the Bucs, they were a franchise that really hadn't won anything in a long time. Yeah. And as soon as he walked into the Bucs organization, it all changed because he set the example and challenged everybody to live up to a much higher standard. So
I call that love and accountability. You got to love people, invest in the relationship, but you got to have accountability to the standards, to the culture, to the values, to the principles. What are your standards? Once you know the standards, it's actually easy to lead because you can say, hey, these are our standards we talked about. This is what Saban loves to do. The standards, and then everything else you can show, are you meeting the standard or you're not? Then it's actually easy to lead someone because you can show them how they're not meeting the standard.
So Energy Bus was amazing. The no complaining rule was amazing. I'm sure One Truth is going to be amazing. We'll get you back on to do that. I want to thank you for being here today because the work that you did in this really simple but amazingly brilliant book to give all of us the opportunity to really learn from you, because you've spent a lot of time with the very best people. You glean the truths about them and about what they all do. You turn them into, through your brilliance of communication, a story. And what we know is true is that Martin did make the team, right?
Don't give it away. Don't give it away. Don't give the story away. No,
we'll have to cut that.
No, that's it. When you read the book, what happens is, as you read the book, it comes alive in your heart, in your mind. So this is great.
We're all Martin.
And we're giving great tips. But as you read the book, it becomes your story. As you read the book, you'll see yourself in Martin and you'll realize, wow, I could be my best.
That's right.
And it will come alive in you and who you are and ultimately what you created. You'll be more inspired by that. With my books, people always say, we can tell in our company who's read it and who hasn't, just by the way they perform, by the way they act. It will change you. Our hope is that we gave you tips today, right, that help you act and get better, even by watching this. But I truly believe if you read the book, it'll be like a 10X in what you'll become along the way.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you do, taking the talent that God gave you, that you own, and lending it to all of us to leave us a little bit better. So thanks, Jon.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Jon Gordon, for sharing your wisdom and your insights with all of us. In the book Training Camp, an NFL rookie named Martin is entering his first professional training camp. Martin experiences the adversity of an unforeseen injury that has the potential to derail his career before it can even get started. His trainers and his coaches, well, they're invested in Martin as a human being and not just as an athlete. So, as a part of his rehab, they share with him a tried and true playbook to set Martin up for long-term success on and off the field. That playbook is the 11 traits that the best do better than everyone else. Those that are committed to best, they know what they truly want, and we wanted more. We're always striving to get better. We do ordinary things better than everyone else. We zoom focus. We're mentally stronger. We overcome our fears. We seize the moment. The best tap into a power that's greater than themselves. And the best leave a legacy. Finally, the best make everyone around them better. As Jon unpacked the final trait today, he offered us this profound wisdom. The best set the standard. They raise the bar. As they pursue excellence for themselves, they show others what excellence looks like. That's what personal and professional best is all about. It's about setting the standard for yourself that will impact not just you, but everyone else in your life, making everyone else in your life better as well. You've now heard the 11 traits the best do better than everyone else. You've heard Jon give context to each of the traits and color how high achievers have put these principles into practice. Training camp's coming to an end, and it's time to play the game. Are you in? Are you all in? Are you ready to set the standard? I am. Best is waiting. Meet you there.